The name of the show is The Way to Go. Tonight's guest is Charlie Sara. I'm Alan Bendich. I'll be your host. Welcome to the show, Charlie.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Wow. So I'm happy that you're here. You're an actor. You're an entrepreneur. Let's start with the acting first.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So how long have you been acting?
About 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time.
How'd you get into it?
First professional job was a Sandra Bullock film. I think it was her third film. I played the limousine driver. I had one line. And
Do you remember the line?
It was "Thank you." Yeah.
That's a good line.
Yeah, it was
I like
easy.
it.
We were in Midtown Manhattan.
Right.
And the scene was a limo pulls up. It was called Religion Incorporated, by the way. That was the name of the film.
Oh my God.
It was about evangelists, if you get the gist of the religion business.
Right.
And the limo pulls up. I get out of the car. The camera follows me around. I open the door. And Jonathan Penner, who was the co-star, he was a big soap guy back in the day, gets out. He says, "Thank you, sir." I said, "Thank you." And he walked into the building. I shut the door. The scene was over. And there were crowds of people, and I was signing autographs. That's the limo driver. That's the limo driver.
So how long did it take to shoot that? I'm curious.
3 days.
Wow. That scene, 3 days?
Yeah, 3 days.
Isn't it crazy how it works?
People don't realize, a 30-second clip takes, forever to do.
So when you did this as your first gig, you probably thought, man, I got the world by
Well, it was great.
Storm.
I'll tell you why, because I was a real limo driver when I was in college.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I was picking up the soap opera actor. And he's like, I love your personality. What are you studying? I said, I'm studying general studies. I don't know what I want to do with my life. And he said, well, I'll make you a deal. If you take one acting elective in college, I will get you a walk-on role on One Life to Live. I said, you have a deal.
Oh, my God.
And 2 days later, I showed him I put an elective in there of Acting 101, whatever acting one, and I get a call from ABC Casting. This is ABC Casting.
When was this, in the 90s?
This was 1989.
1989.
Yeah, 1989. And I had my first walk-on. I carried a ladder across the set on One Life to Live, and that year I did 42 episodes my first year, just networked in there and kept it going. Yeah.
So, it's pretty difficult to get a gig on One Life to Live.
It was fun.
Did you work any other soap operas?
Yeah, I did All My Children. I played, what did I play? Oh, a furniture mover. Yeah, with Kelly Ripa in her early career.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's a great one. So, what happened with soaps? I mean, did you stop? Did soap stop you, or did you stop soaps?
No, soaps stopped me. Say that 3 times.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Basically, they changed casting directors.
Oh, I see.
There's 2 casting directors in the soap world. There's, your head casting agent who signs just contract players, and then you have your under 5 and extra casting director.
Right.
So I was really, in tight with the under 5 casting director. I would get an under 5 every 3rd time I was on the show. And one day I called. I haven't had a call in a while. I knew her, had her personal phone number. And, oh, sorry, she's no longer here. And that was it.
That's showbiz, right?
And that was it.
Wow.
For my soap career.
So what happened after? What was your next?
So I knew I wanted to do this for a living.
Right.
So I continued at Montclair State University. Well, it was a college then, not to age myself. And I remember I had a day on a show on One Life to Live, and I get called down to the dean's office, and the dean says to me, "You are not going tomorrow to your show." And I said, well, of course I am. I got a gig. I'm bragging. I'm trying to pick up the girls. I'm telling all the girls in my class I'm on a soap tomorrow. They can't believe it. She says, well, I was in the BFA program, by the way. Okay. She said, if you go to that show, you are off. You're out of the BFA program. You're a BA program. I said, yeah, well, I'll transfer right out of this university. Right. And that's exactly what I did. She dropped me down to the BA program. And I transferred to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
To me, that's like so crazy that you have a professional gig and you're going for a BFA, and they would do that to you.
Our voice and speech teacher in her office has a picture of Bruce Willis, because that's their alumni, famous alumni, Bruce Willis. And I was, of course, going to be their second.
By the way, I worked on Moonlighting as a stand-in for Curtis Armstrong.
Very cool.
I know.
Very cool.
When he was a young man and when he had hair.
So Bruce has his headshot right
in
her office, and it says, "Dear Mrs. Bianchi, You may have failed me, but now I'm rich. Ha
There
ha.
it is.
Bruce Willis.
That's the reality of the situation. Wow. So what school did you go to after?
I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Yeah.
Wow.
Spent 2 years there, and I did everything. Fencing.
That's on Madison.
Yeah,
Madison.
31st and Madison.
Yeah, I work right around the corner from that place. I see actors there all the time, smoking their cigarettes and acting like actors.
Exactly.
That's great.
Crazy breed.
So you continued acting.
Continued acting.
Did you ever do stage?
Did a lot of stage. Yeah.
Did you like stage?
Did a lot of community theater.
Right.
Loved stage, but as I got older, the time commitments
Right.
for no money or minimal money was very difficult to do.
Did you ever consider going to Hollywood?
I did. In fact, I put a deposit on a place in Santa Monica, and my mom was ill. She had a mental disorder her whole life, so that kind of prevented me from going out there. I had to stay close, so I never really got out there. Well, Czech did, but I never physically got there.
Yeah, I think you probably would have done very well in Hollywood. I mean, I did okay in Hollywood, and and you have much more of a background, an acting background, than I did when I got out there. So, you had other endeavors as well, right? I mean,
well, yeah. I got tired of bartending, and I was a DJ in a local bar, and going to school, and so my cousin, who was a physician at the time, said to me, "You need to fall back on something." I said, "Well, there's nothing more I want to do. This is it. I'm an actor. That's what I want to do." And I got a job working. I went for an EMT certification.
Right.
Figured, let me drive the ambulance. That could be kind of fun. I'm a limo driver. I could drive the ambulance around. And I got the EMT, and I met a guy who's had a great gig as an EKG technician at a big hospital in New Jersey. So I went down there, and I put my resume in, and I didn't get a call. So I thought about how could I get in through a connection, and I asked my cousin, the doctor, I said, do you know anybody at this particular healthcare facility? And he said, yeah, well, I know my advanced life support director. He was a teacher. So I called up the person I was interviewing. I bypassed human resources, and I called the woman, and I said, I'm this gentleman, Bruce Calfee's nephew. He told me to call you because there's an opening for a trauma technician in the emergency room.
Right.
I've never done anything, especially in an emergency room. And they call me in for the interview, and you do draw blood. Yeah, of course. I've done it many times. Never
did it before.
Never even took a needle out of a box, and got the job, and I was there 6 years.
Wow.
But the problem was I would get auditions, and I couldn't go.
And that's the roughest. I mean, I have a full-time gig, and there have been times when I could have actually gone to casinos to do commercials for 3 or 4 days, but I have to work. So I had to not take that gig. Right. And it kills you.
It does. Right? So I thought about it, and I said, well, what can I do that I can make a living, have a career, and still act? And so I opened up a rehab facility. And I took my cousin, the physician, and I said, listen, I'll go back, I'll get my master's degree, and I'll learn about physician practice management. I'll open up a facility. You're the doctor. I'm the administrator. I can employ all these people and go out on auditions. And that was really what I wanted to do. And here, 16 years later, we're thriving.
And how many employees do you have?
I have 13 people that work for me, yeah.
So, but you still continue acting, right?
That's the whole reason I'm doing what I'm doing.
So, while you were doing all this, what other things came your way in terms of acting?
A couple of really cool things. I got a part on a Fox Sports Network show called Amazing Sports Stories.
Oh, cool.
And I played the head coach of a simulated show about the 1951 San Francisco football team. Mm-hmm. And the basis of the show was they had a very famous coach that went to Notre Dame, and they were undefeated. I mean, they just blew everyone out. And they had 2 black players on the team. They were invited by Pete Rozelle to the Orange Bowl or the Cotton Bowl, one of the big bowl games. Right. But they pulled us on the side and they said to me, you need to leave the 2 black players behind and you can play in the bowl game.
Oh my God.
So the whole story was about the segregation and how we decided that the heck with the bowl game, we're going to keep our pride and we're going to go into history as...
So what side of the story was Pete Rozelle on?
He was actually up and coming. He was a news reporter back then. a journalist for sports before he became.
But was he a good guy? Was he a good guy in
He
the story?
He was the good guy.
That's good because he's the founding the person who founded the organization that I work
really?
for.
Yeah, yeah.
Pete and Carrie Rizal. It's interesting. It's a good thing that you said he was a good guy.
Yeah, he was. He was. And so the program had great success. It was nominated for four Sports Emmy Awards. So I got to go to the Emmys 2 years in a row, 2008, 2009. Yeah. It was fun, walking the red carpet and, I met Muhammad Ali and I met a lot of cool people. And, I do 1 or 2 decent jobs a year, right. And...
Is that enough?
No, no, it's not.
If I could just tell you a story, because
I would love it. Please.
You met Muhammad Ali. I used to work at a club called the Hollywood Palace in Hollywood, and we had the first NAACP Image Awards.
Wow.
And it was like 2:00, and in Hollywood, that's last call. So I had to take the drinks away from. I thought it was George Foreman, so I said, "George, can I get your drink?" And he puts his fist up to my hand.
Oh my
and says,
goodness.
"I'm Joe Frazier." I said, "Oh no!" And it said Joe in diamonds. Right?
Oh, that's great.
And I said, "You could drink your drink," but he had his fist right in my face. I said, "Oh my God, I got him mixed up."
And the next one's on me.
Yeah,
that's fun.
So, what other? Okay, so you've done. Have you done features? Or?
I've done a bunch of independents. I did an independent film last year called Hunting Season.
Right.
We went out to the Hollywood Film Festival. We won Best Drama there.
Oh, that's great.
And I got to play a bad boy, which was kind of cool because I'm always like the doctor, the lawyer, the young dad.
Well, that's hard to believe because you play a bad boy in another show, but we'll talk about that one later. I always thought you would always play the bad boy, but I could see you playing the nice guy, the dad. Yeah.
This part was, when I say bad boy, I'm talking tattoos on the neck.
Oh my God.
And ex-Desert Storm recluse that.
Is any of that on your?
Yeah,
reel?
it's on my reel.
Okay, would you mind sharing it with?
Sure.
Okay, let's take a look at Charlie's reel right now.
Great.
Okay.
I'm looking for Jerry.
Oh, Jake, seem worked up.
She stole my truck.
Now, why would she do that?
I got a little rough. I guess a little carried away when I was telling her a war story.
Would you like a drink to calm you down?
Okay.
Okay.
I remember that. I haven't been the same since I've come home. That bloody battle's still on my brain. Sometimes I just snap.
Hey.
Like a twin.
Hey, baby, relax. Come on. Drink up.
Yeah.
The skipper said incognito. I think we look pretty good.
Like we were born here.
Like he was born here.
Right?
You guys gotta be kidding me. You're killing me. Joey, what are you going fishing? Richie, you look like a tree.
I got the hat, boss.
Pink, what's wrong with the hat? And what's up with the socks?
I told him.
Hey, yo! We are here in Chestermouth for one reason. To get these 2 imbeciles.
We know why we're here, boss.
Oh! We lost one of our own. Our brother. Our blood. Do me a favor. Let's get out there and get these 2 clowns and bring them to me.
Absolutely, boss. Absolutely.
Wow, you are a bad boy. Bad boy.
That, by the way, was Eileen Kristen, Emmy award-winning actress on a famous soap opera. She was on all of them.
So did she know that you worked? I mean, you must have talked about your experiences on the soap operas with her.
We did, and but my experiences were the little guy. She was the one. It was funny because the independent film world.
Yes.
It's you, the director, a few people on set. There's no budget.
Right.
And the first thing she said is, which one of you is the continuity person?
Oh, interesting.
And the director goes, that would be me. And she goes, and who are you? He goes, I'm the director, the producer, the editor, and the continuity person.
Right. It's amazing, though, when you go from like a big budget production, because I've worked in a lot of especially in the 80s, to what I live in now in the independent film, where like you wear many hats,
Yep.
and you can get really nice work, but it's much different. It's
Yep.
much different.
Amazing sports stories.
Yes.
You know, since I was one of the principals, I had my own tent, you know, my own food. They wouldn't let me eat with the quote extras, and I said, no, I'm going with the boys because
Right.
I was with them. You know, last week I was one of them. So,
Right.
you know, and you know, makeup, and they're fixing my bald spot.
Right.
You know, and I was laughing. The girl goes, "I'm sorry, Mr. Sara, I didn't get. Did you say something?" I
Right.
said, "I just, you know, today I'm a king, and tomorrow I go back to my normal, you know,
Right.
life."
But you know, I'll tell you, to be honest, I enjoy that. I mean, I was an extra, then I became, you know, became SAG, and then I had speaking parts. And I'll be honest, I enjoyed stepping in front of the extras. I hate to say it, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the makeup and all the BS that people threw in your face about how great you are. You know, meanwhile they never saw anything that you were in.
Right.
I loved it. What can I say? You know, it was just it was good because in quotes, you know, you're paying your dues.
Paying your dues. I was just going to say that. You read my mind. Paying your dues.
And you do pay your dues in this business.
Yeah.
But and you could pay your dues all your life and never get anywhere, you know. And that's why I think you chose a good route of becoming the entrepreneur, of being the entrepreneur that you are, and then you could also live your life as an actor. I mean,
the thing is, there's no restriction. If you have your health,
that's it.
you have no restrictions. If you want to be a pilot tomorrow,
Right.
you're going to be a pilot if you really set out to do it. So there's no reason why you can't have everything.
That's true. I agree with you. I think and you have to be optimistic.
Yes.
But you also have to be lucky because life sometimes throws you some curves.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that my father always talks about. The two things, and he's both, you have to be lucky because you could be a statistic.
Absolutely.
But you have to be optimistic because if you're not,
What do they say? Half full, half empty?
that's it, exactly. So there was another interesting project that you worked on, that I worked on, that Noah worked on, that a bunch of guys worked on, and that was Stunads. And you were one of the stars of Stunads.
Well, I was.
Co-stars.
I had a real fun time with Stunads.
I know,
because-
you were great.
Thank you. Thanks. You know, Stunads was, when I heard about the story, I really loved it. I'm from New Jersey.
Right.
And everything that's in Stunads really does exist.
And Stunads is a web series that both of us were in, and but continue,
yeah,
please.
well, Stunads is a simple Italian term called, stupid.
Right.
and it's about these two guys that are just, they want to be on top of the world, but they, the world has other plans for them. And I play the real mobster.
Right.
I'm actually one of your underlings,
Right.
one of your warriors. I see these two guys holding up a Chinese restaurant. And they want to hold this guy hostage, this Chinaman, for money.
Right.
And he says, I don't have any money. So they says, well, he's got no money, boss. Well, what do you got? He says, I have egg rolls. So the boss, he says, well, I guess we'll work for egg rolls. And that's how the story begins.
I thought it was a lot of fun. It was an interesting concept. I mean, I loved having the mansion that we actually shot in, and Noah, who was one of our past guests on the Way to Go,
great.
was
fantastic.
He played my consigliere, and it was. I mean, it was a lot of action and it was a lot of comedy, and it actually won some awards, right?
Yeah, it did. It won a bunch of awards. Right. So hopefully it's still alive.
Right.
The thing that I'm not crazy about is that he put the whole web series up already. Right. Without attaching it to other things, and.
But I'm sure. I mean, it did get exposure.
It did.
And it was fun. See, I do most of the acting I do because I'm also. I also have another gig. I have a real job,
Mm-hmm.
So I do it for fun, and there was a lot of fun. I mean, that show was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And maybe Jimmy will come up with some other ideas for next season. I hope so.
I hope so too.
So, any other shows?
Yeah, I just did a small independent film. I played a priest. I know you played a priest as well,
Yeah.
which was kind of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
A good priest, no altar boys.
See, I was a bad priest.
Oh, were you a bad priest?
I was a bad priest. Yes.
Well, I had a gambling problem, so that.
Yeah.
And we shot that, and it's doing the film festival circuit now, and I'm doing another project with a gentleman that I did hunting season for. His name is Tom Balsamitis. Right. Say that 10 times. He's doing another full-length feature, and he wants me to work on it. So
isn't it great when you have an opportunity to work with the same people, that they trust you,
Yes.
that you're able to deliver, and you develop these relationships? I think that's half the fun, is having the relationships.
Yep.
And And then when, you know, because you could trust each other. And
You know, I'm with, for print only, not
Yes.
legit, with Abrams Artists in New York City. And they send me out on print work, but I never get it. I'm not a model.
Right.
You know, I'm 5'9.5" maybe, and they send me out on these, what they call go-sees.
Right.
And the agent will call me, oh yeah, this one's, you know, $130,000, and, you know, all I need is one of them.
Right,
That's, you know,
absolutely.
and I walk in and I'm humiliated. Because the first thing they ask me, well, where is your portfolio?
Oh, right.
And I pull out my headshot, you know, and I'm standing there next to guys like Tyson Beckford,
Right.
and, you know, and I'm like, what am I doing here? This is
But I
humiliating.
think, but it might be humiliating, but sometimes you never know. I mean, they might
You
be
never
looking, they might be looking for someone like you. You never,
Right.
I mean, it's not unheard of. I mean, you got the job on Stunads. You've gotten other jobs. It's really, you never know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're looking for quirky people. I remember there was a show that I actually saw in the Emlyn Theater, I think, or that had an actress that, is now I mean, I looked at her and I said, man, I can't
Yeah.
believe she's an actress. And now she's doing a lottery commercial that I just saw recently on TV. So
Right.
you never know what people are looking for.
They call what, the plus size models, you know,
Yeah,
they
stuff-
came out with the,
That's it. It's crazy. So
anything's possible. You're absolutely right, Alan. Anything is possible.
Right. So I'm trying to think of. You want to talk about your family a little bit?
Family's my goal. That was my goal and my probably biggest achievement in life.
Right.
You know, growing up, mom was handicapped, dad left at a very young age. So I always wanted the value. I was an only child. I always wanted the value of having children and having a family. So that's really why I got the day job as well. I wanted to act and I wanted to have children, and I found the perfect girl who her dad was my 8th grade history teacher.
Oh my God.
And
I don't
you
think
know,
any of my teachers would have let me date their daughters.
well, he said to me, you know, it's funny because he said to me, he goes, "Thank God you were quiet in my class."
Yes, that's
So yeah, 3 beautiful children. I have a 12-year-old, a 9-year-old, and my daughter. They're boys. The boys are older, 12 and 9, and
So
my daughter's
what do they
6.
think about your acting?
My daughter is my biggest fan. She loves it. She's on YouTube all the time.
Isn't that
you
wonderful?
know, and she's repeating everything I say on Stunads, and
I love it.
sometimes not the good stuff.
Well, I don't think you said too many bad things.
No, it wasn't that bad.
You're right.
The boys are embarrassed a little bit.
And your wife is supportive of your
Yeah,
acting?
yeah. She just doesn't want any part of it.
Right.
Went to the Emmy Awards. I went with my best friend from high school.
Right.
You know, she's like, "No, sorry, it's a school night. I can't." I said, "Honey, this is the Emmy Awards. We're going to
know,
the
God.
Emmys. We're going to Lincoln Center." And she says, "I'm sorry, I can't. You know, we got school tomorrow for the kids."
That's crazy.
So I grabbed my buddy and we walked
it.
the red carpet together. And I'm sure people that knew me, oh, I knew it. I knew he was
Right.
a little off.
I don't think so. So, and do you think your kids will follow in your footsteps?
My daughter, yes. She's, you know, into dance and drama, and at 7 years old, this kid has more talent than I have in my pinky.
But isn't it great? I mean, I have a son who's 19 and a daughter who's let's see, how old is she? Who's 15 or she's 16? Now 15. She'll be 16 next month. So it's amazing, and it goes so quickly. I mean, now
I
my
know.
son's in college, and we
Wow.
hardly see him. And
That's
my daughter's
amazing.
leaving in a couple of years, so you really got to enjoy them now while you have them.
Let me ask you the question: how do your children? Do they?
They're
following your
very
footsteps?
supportive. My son likes my quirky films, the trauma movies, some of the horror films he really likes. But my daughter, but they live their own lives. At this stage of the game, they're more into their own friends and what they're doing. And my wife kind of, she's my biggest critic.
Really? Is she
So,
supportive?
Well, she's supportive, but she's also, if I really want to get an honest opinion of how I did on a shoot, she'll let me know.
I have, it's funny you say that. I did a film in 2010 called Lotto.
Yeah.
And the reason I did it was a friend of a friend said, "Come on, you can do it. You can play the doctor. You own a place.
Right.
We can film at your place." So I said, "Okay, fine. We'll do it." We do this thing, and the guy gets wheeled in on a stretcher, and I'm the doctor, and he gets hit by a car, and he's going into convulsions, and so I give him a little bit of medication, and he's huffing and puffing and moaning and groaning.
Oh, my God.
And the director says, "Cut," and he goes, "Hey guys, did you feel it?" I go, "Did I feel what?" He goes, "You didn't feel that pain emoting from me?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness."
God.
So anyway, they premiered this thing at a theater, and it was all, I didn't know it was all about him selling DVDs and money, and it was really going nowhere.
Right.
and I brought my wife, and there's 1,100 people there, and this guy, the director, gets up and he says, you know, I want to thank this one and that one. A lot of people knew that we were never going to make this, but we did anyway, and there's a special person I want to thank. And he says, I want to thank Charlie, Sara. He lent us his place. He was wonderful, blah, blah, blah. And I felt like $1 trillion,
Right.
people applauding for me.
Right.
Then the lights went down,
Right.
and the projector went on, and the projector went off, and it skipped.
Oh, God.
And the whole first hour was promos for his video company.
Oh, God.
And then the show began, and I started to creep slowly down in my chair.
Right.
And my wife, we got back in the car, and she said, honey, that's the last time I will ever go see
Right.
something you've done. If it's on TV, no problem.
Right.
But you will never get me to go again. And that was a
It's
very
a-
valuable experience.
It's rough. It could be a rough. It could definitely be a rough experience.
Because we don't know as actors what the final product is going to
That's
look
true.
like.
And that's it. You could either it's the cringe factor.
Right.
It's that whole.
That's a good term, cringe factor.
Well, I hate to say it. It was actually Noah's term.
Oh, was it? Okay, great.
You know, you have to give citation where it's due. So and credit. So I mean, you go into these films again, and it's like a situation where you don't know how it's going to be cut up. I mean, I've gone to like film festivals, and I'm expecting to see all my work, and then they've cut it off, so it doesn't even really make sense.
Right.
Like you're missing the first 5 minutes of what I said, so there's no lead in. So it's, I mean, it could still be good work,
Right.
but it's not. There's no continuity.
How do you critique yourself when you see yourself?
Again, I think most of the time I don't critique myself as much as I should, I guess. The one thing I do say, and again, this is funny because it's very similar to Noah's question, I think when a director says it was good for me and it wasn't good for you, it wasn't good for him, and it's not good for you. That's the second time I've said it on this show. But I think that's the biggest thing. When I hear that, I know that I missed it. That I didn't hit the nail on the head. And I can't believe it though, because now, as I'm getting warmed up in this this interview, it looks like it's time to say goodbye. God.
Wow.
But we're gonna have to have you on the show again.
Thank
man.
you. It's a pleasure. It's very comfortable, and you're an excellent host. And
Well, I'm still learning. I'll put it that
Well,
way. But
you're
it was
doing
really
okay.
great having you on the show, Charlie. And that's a wrap. Good night, everybody.